Hey guys, it's me, Lori, the Frugal Mom. Welcome back to my channel. I am sitting here and I am resting. I am about to go into the kitchen in a few minutes and start a pot of sauce. I'm gonna make some chicken meatballs with it and some pasta. I'm gonna do a big cook this afternoon. It's a little bit after 3 because I've got a big ham in my refrigerator that I've had there since Easter, and don't worry, it's still good till September. And it's taken out of room and I might as well make it. So with that, I'm going to make some beautiful garlic green beans. I might make homemade mac and cheese, but I'm not sure. We'll see. I also have to peel some peaches from a trip I took the other day, which I'll be posting soon. Yeah, so I'm going to go do all the things. I am just sitting here relaxing for a few minutes. I just dropped Matt off at work. I'm enjoying a Dunkin' because, well, I might be frugal and I might be on a low income, but every once in a while you deserve a treat. And since I'm saving so much on my groceries this week, why not? Because I'm trying to use a lot of what I have already, which is a good thing. The sauce is going to be made all from tomatoes that I had in my pantry, canned tomatoes, of course. The chicken breast, the ground chicken breast, is from the freezer. And like I said, the ham I've had for a while. The pasta for the mac and cheese and the milk is all from stuff that I already have. The only thing I did have to buy was the green beans. And I'm probably going to make a tossed salad with the pasta. So I did buy some new lettuce and a cucumber. I have some nice grape tomatoes that I got from a local farm stand, because I've only had one tomato so far. But that's okay. I've got buds, I've got flowers, so hopefully something will come of that. So yeah. Oh, excuse me. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to share it with you guys. So I'll see you back in a little bit. Hey guys, so we are going to be making marinara sauce today. And to do that, I am going to use 2 or 3 cans of crushed tomatoes. These are your 28-ounce cans. These are fire roasted. If you don't have fire roasted, just use what you've got. These are organic. These are Mary Glen. I got them at a good price a few months ago at Grocery Outlet. So the reason why I say 2 or 3 is I'm gonna, put everything into my Dutch oven. I'm gonna see how much it makes. I might want to add a little bit more, but we'll see. So 2 or 3 of those, and then I'm going to use 2 28-ounce cans of tomato puree. So this will make it thicker. If it does come out a little thin, I will add some tomato paste. That's a common pantry staple, at least for me. You could use it in the tube or in a can. I like to keep probably about 6 cans of it in because it adds richness to a lot of different recipes. If you don't have that, you can also thicken with a little bit of cornstarch and water, or some flour and water. So you may not need to thicken it. The longer you let it cook and reduce it, it gets thicker by itself. So 2 28-ounce cans of that. And of course we have garlic. I'll probably add a heaping 3 tablespoons of this to my Dutch oven. And of course, extra virgin olive oil. This is from Trader Joe's. Whatever you've got, that's fine. If you don't have extra virgin olive oil, use whatever oil you've got on hand. This I got on a good sale. This is, let's see, this is 33.8 fluid ounces. I got this for $12.50 last month. Sea salt to taste, pepper to taste. I'm gonna go clip some fresh basil out of my garden. And I am also going to be chopping up, like a rough chop, 1 large onion to give it more flavor. So I'm going to get all that started, and then I'll be back. This is about 3 or 4 turns of extra virgin olive oil around the Dutch oven. Let me back up and show you it. I love this Dutch oven. It is 5 quarts. I got it at a store called At Home. Unfortunately, most of them are closing. It was a very reasonable price, but you can find Dutch ovens, if you'd like one, pretty much anywhere. They're just a little bit more expensive than this one. Marshall's, Home Goods, TJ Maxx sometimes, Amazon, even Walmart had some. So that is a little bit more than 3 tablespoons of garlic, but that's okay. I mean, there's not really so much of a thing as too much garlic, right? It's more like 4 tablespoons. So I am going to brown this, and then I'm going to turn the heat off. While it's browning, I am going to chop up my onion. Okay, guys. So I'm touching my phone with my non-meatball hand. So this is what it looks like when it's mixed. Very similar to meatloaf. Now what my Italian mom taught me to do was to smell and see if it smells like garlic. And if it doesn't smell like garlic, well, girl, you better be putting some more in. Either garlic or some granulated powder. I'm going to do granulated powder. If you see, I've got it open right there, and that's why I leave it open. I'm going to have to put down the phone to do that, though, with my clean hand. It's always good if you have one clean hand and one to do other things with. If you want to use 2 hands, that's fine, but you're probably not trying to make a video while you're doing this. So, yeah, I am going to put enough garlic in until I smell it. Alright, so our garlic browned for about 3 minutes. And then I added our onion, and I cooked that for about 3 to 4 minutes. And see how everything's nice and brown, and there's some brown on the side of the Dutch oven, but I'm just going to scrape that down. That's all going to add to our flavor. And now I am going to add the tomatoes and put a little bit of salt and pepper in that. I'm not going to add the basil. Probably about 20 minutes. I want to give the sauce a chance to cook without adding anything too strong to it, so I can check the acidity level. Alright, so I have added my tomatoes. I did end up using all 3 cans of the crushed. It's so nice and thick with the addition of the tomato puree. It has filled up our pot pretty nicely, and it will give me enough room to put my meatballs in to cook them when they come out of the air fryer, or I'm not sure if I'm going to use my oven, probably the air fryer. So I am going to start this on a medium heat and let it come up to a simmer. Then I will lower it and let it simmer for about 20 minutes before I add some basil to it to deepen the flavor. Okay, so what you see here is my marinara sauce. So a common thing that happens is, you see that it's bubbling, is that the marinara sauce, or any tomato sauce, any tomato-based sauce I should say, will be very acidic. That's normal, and a lot of people will just add sugar, and I used to too, but at this point in life I am diabetic. I don't want to add any more sugar to the sauce, so I am going to, or I did already, add a 1/4 cup of baking soda to the sauce. I've stirred it in. You can see it bubbling. That's the reaction between the acid and the baking soda. It's very acidic. In fact, just a taste upset my stomach a little bit. You know, so if you're like me and you don't want to use sugar and you have stomach issues, go ahead and try a little bit of baking soda. It won't hurt anything. Another thing you can do is use some grated carrot. I don't want to grate carrot right now, so I'm going to forgo that. And you can also put some dairy in there, like heavy cream, and I might do that if this doesn't work. But I'm going to cook this for a little bit longer and see if it does the trick. You want to make sure you cook it, bring it up to a boil so that the baking soda has a chance to dissolve into the sauce, and remember the baking soda is going to neutralize that acid. So let's let it cook for a bit and see what we get. Okay, so while our sauce is simmering, we are going to make some chicken meatballs. So I've got 3 pounds, although I'm thinking of only using 2 pounds and freezing the other one, so let's do that. I'm only going to use 2 pounds. So I've got 2 pounds of chicken, ground white meat chicken. I've got breadcrumbs, so for each pound I'm going to use a 1/2 cup. I've got Parmesan cheese grated, Italian seasoning, some pepper. I do have more peppercorns. I just have to fill my grinder. Garlic powder and sea salt. And to this I will also add just a drop of milk whether it's ground beef or it's any kind of ground meat, actually. Pork, chicken, turkey, or beef. I like to add a drop of milk to soften the meatballs. So I'm going to get started on that. It's a quick note. If you are gluten-free, I tend to be most of the time. You can use gluten-free seasoned breadcrumbs. You can make your own, which I will do sometime if I have a lot of stale bread. I'll turn them into breadcrumbs. You can use panko if you want. Anything will work. Just remember, per pound, half a cup. So my dears, when I opened up the ground chicken, it had an odor to it. So, when you smell a smell like that, you do not take a chance. It was not just the packaging, because of course it was cryovac. It was the chicken itself. Even though I had only bought it 2 days ago, I put it right into the fridge. I didn't leave it out of refrigeration for long. It should be fine. It's got a date of the 26th. I am going to return it to Aldi. In the meantime, to save my dinner for tonight, I have DoorDashed another 3 pounds of ground chicken from Aldi. Don't worry, I will get it refunded. I only have to spend a couple of dollars on a tip, $2. So to me, it's worth it. Never a dull moment, right, guys? In this bowl, I have got 3 pounds of ground chicken. I went back to 3 pounds because, well, why not? I'm making them. I might as well make them. And I'm going to give some to Steve when he comes to visit me on Wednesday. So I've got my 3 pounds of ground chicken. I've got a cup and a half of breadcrumbs. These are Italian seasoned. I've got 3 handfuls, that's my mama's rule, of Parmesan cheese. It's grated. And I have 3 tablespoons of garlic. I have a teaspoon of salt, about 10 cracks of fresh pepper, a little bit of Italian seasoning, probably about a tablespoon. I mean, most of this, I just do it by eyeball, but probably about a tablespoon, I would say. 3 drops, and I mean drops, of milk. Any milk you have will do. I'm trying to think what else I threw in there. Italian seasoning pretty much has everything in it. Thyme, oregano, basil, a good mix of everything. And I don't put egg in mine. And then I have some Italian breadcrumbs on a plate to roll my meatballs in, and we're gonna get started doing that now. I am gonna use my hands to mix up the meatball mixture. Don't get all, sketched out by that. I mean, I do wash my hands several times when I am cooking, and it's my family I'm cooking for. If you want to wear gloves, go right ahead, but I know my hands and my nails are exceptionally clean. Okay guys, we're ready to roll our meatballs, and now the meatballs smell like garlic. So to mix it a little bit more. I also put a tad more, maybe a teaspoon more of Italian seasoning. So I like to make mine fairly large. It's how my Italian mama taught me. Make them hearty. I've got enough meat, so why not? So I like to take this much meat, measure with your heart, y'all. If you want to make them smaller, go right ahead. And I roll it in between my hands. Ground chicken can tend to be sticky. Thankfully, this one isn't. If yours is, what I recommend is putting just a tiny bit of olive oil on your hands. Now you see it's a perfect ball shape. And I'm going to roll it in my breadcrumbs, and I'm going to put it on my air fryer pan. Now I am using my air fryer pan because I have a spiral sliced ham in the oven, which I'm also filming that as well. I'm making several meals for this video because I am bulk cooking. Sorry if it's going to go a little long. I hope y'all have the attention span to stay with me. So, I figured I would just put out a long video since I haven't really put out a lot of content yet. Summer, it's a little crazy. I'm just going to continue rolling my meatballs like that. And if you want to fry them, by all means, go ahead and do that. I don't fry them because I don't want to add the fat to the meatballs. But if that's not an issue for you, go right ahead. This is white meat, so you want to be careful you don't dry them out. So we're going to cook them for about 20 minutes in my air fryer on bake on 350. I would do it a little bit longer in my oven. And then they're going to cook the rest of the way in the sauce, and they're going to be nice and juicy from cooking in the sauce. So, see that? Again, nice, shape. They'll come out a little flat on the bottom, but once they're cooked, they're in that sauce, you're not even going to notice that you got a flat bottom meatball. That sounds like a song kind of like Fat Bottom Girls, doesn't it? Alright, so I've got 12 meatballs, big chicken meatballs, on my sprayed with Pam tinfoil lined pan for my air fryer. I'm going to put them in for 20 minutes, and I have a little bit more meat, so that will probably make about 4 more meatballs. I'm not going to make them as big for Steve, so he has more than just a couple, and I will cook them separately. Alright, you guys, so I got the taste of the sauce just where I want it, and that's the key. I can't tell you how to get the taste to the sauce to where you want it. I can just guide you with basic information. You got to keep tasting it as it cooks down. This has been cooking for about 30 minutes at this point, so the whole cook time is about an hour. I am going to cook it for another 10 minutes, and that's only because the tomatoes were so acidic. The baking soda, it actually did do the trick. I'm grateful for that. Now I have taken some fresh basil from my garden, and I have chopped it finely, and I am going to stir it in, and that's why I'm going to cook it for another 10 minutes. And then it'll cook for another 15-20 minutes on top of that when I put the meatballs in. And it's okay to cook it longer because the acid will cook out of it even more. You can adjust your flavoring even more at that point. I put about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese in there. You don't have to if you don't want to, but that's what I chose to do. Okay, friends, so here's our chicken meatballs. They are just about done. They were in the air fryer for 20 minutes, and they're still, you know, a little pink inside, but they won't be after they finish cooking in our sauce for about a half hour. Excuse my arm for reaching. I'm going to take my silicone spatula and push them down into the sauce. I'm gonna put the heat up a little bit higher to bring it up to a simmer again. And then I am going to go ahead and start it simmering. It smells really good in here, guys. The fresh basil, it's amazing, along with the garlic. Okay, guys, so the next thing I'm going to be making is a beautiful bone-in spiral sliced half of a ham. This is Cook's brand. I was lucky enough to find it for 99 cents a pound after Easter at the end of April, and it has an expiration date of the end of this month, which is August 2025. I am going to put it in the oven and make it the traditional way. It's a cooler day here in New Jersey. It's only 71 outside. I do have my kitchen air conditioning on because I've got a bunch of different things going and I don't want to be hot. It came with a sweet ham glaze. I am going to use that, and I'm going to be putting some pineapple on it. I've got some nice sliced pineapple in my pantry. I am going to be making some homemade macaroni and cheese with government cheese, and I'll show you what that is if you don't know what it is. I'm also going to be making some garlic green beans with it. I am doing a bulk cook today, so I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the week. Okay, so what I have done, as you can see, is I have placed the ham in a baking dish. There's my oven. It's preheated to 275. I've placed my ham in a baking dish, and I've got a Pyrex dish right here. It's, I'm not sure what the measurement is off the top of my head. Well, you guys know this shape. Most of you probably have it in your kitchen. So I like to add about a cup of water to the bottom of the pan, just so it doesn't dry out. I am now going to cover this with tin foil. You of course want to put it, as you can see, face down, and we are going to cook this for an hour and a half in the 270 degree oven. And while it is doing its thing, I am going to start working on something else. Probably the mac and cheese, I'm thinking. So let me get this in the oven, and I'll be right back. I'm not going to do anything too fancy with this ham. I mean, other than, well, I don't consider that fancy, putting pineapple on it. You know, the good thing about a nice big piece of meat like this, it's very versatile. I'm sorry if you can't hear me over the crinkling tinfoil. You know, not only can you have it for dinner, but you can put it in quiches, which I might make. You can make wraps with it. You can make sandwiches with it. The end part where the hock is, there's often a lot of usable meat. You can use the ham hock for soup, for stews. You can also make pork and beans. Like I said, omelets, you name it. You can make ham croquettes. Wonderful, wonderful options. So even though it's not holiday time, why not make a ham in the summer? You know, anytime you find a good price, like I said, on a big piece of meat, go for it. Okay guys, so about after an hour and a half, you're going to take your half spiral sliced ham out of the oven, and you're going to baste it with the glaze that came with the ham. If you want to use your own homemade glaze, go right ahead. I'm just trying to keep things simple. If it were a holiday, I would probably make my own, or they sell some glaze in the supermarket, the jar that's nice as well. I would also probably put maraschino cherries in the middle of the pineapple slices, but you know, this is pretty good glaze. I've tasted it before, and why waste it? So one thing, I'm going to show you one of my little tricks to keep the ham extra moist. I'm going to pour the juice from the pineapple over it. And this is something that my mother taught me a very long time ago. She never made a ham like this, but she used to make canned ham all the time. And this really does give the ham a nice flavor. Pineapple and ham go great together. That's my air fryer, if you hear it. I still have meatballs in it. I am cooking up a storm today. I'm just going to take a moment, and I am going to brush this glaze very liberally. I'm going to use all of it. I'm making a nice crust around the ham. There's more than enough moisture in the bottom of the pan. You can probably see it from the water that I put in and the juices from the ham. So I am not going to bore you while I baste this ham with this delicious looking glaze. So I will be back to show you how I attach the pineapples. Okay, so here's our glazed ham. It's really nice, isn't it? Sorry about my crappy camera work. You can see it's all nice and shiny all around it. I use every last bit of it. So now I'm going to put the camera back up. Sorry for my camera work. And this is how you're going to attach your pineapple rings. I just move the camera a little bit so you can see. One by one, you'll just take one. You'll take a toothpick. I'm glad I looked in my drawer because I'm almost out of toothpicks. And you'll just attach it like that. And you go all around your ham, all the way down as far as you can go before you hit the water, until you don't have any more pineapple rings left. Okay, so now that I've got my pineapples on, you can see how they are. If it was a holiday, I'd probably use 2 cans. But, you know, this is good enough, and I don't want to waste anything. And sometimes I end up throwing out a few pineapple rings because not everybody likes them, especially after they've been cooked. And don't worry, I know I just touched my headband, but it's clean. And I will wash my hands again, but I'm going to put the ham into my oven again. I have upped the temperature to 325. I'm going to cook that for another half hour. I'm going to check on it after about 15 minutes to make sure that nothing's getting too brown. And then I'm going to take it out and I'm going to let it rest for about a half hour before I attempt to remove the slices from the bone. Here's our beautiful ham. It is out of the oven. I'm going to let it cool for about 20-30 minutes while I have something to eat, and then I will separate it from the bone. Okay, you guys, so since the ham is out of the oven, it is time to make our macaroni and cheese. Now, I know that you all, or most of you, have heard the term government cheese, and that's referring to commodity cheese, and that is usually this brand, Bongards. It's got a texture kind of like a Velveeta. A lot of the food pantries give it away in this huge brick. This is awesome stuff, I'm telling you. I mean, it might sound strange to those of you who haven't had it, but it's really good. It makes the best macaroni and cheese. It also makes really good grilled cheese. It melts really nicely. And I've got a big brick of it, so we're going to use it. So I'll let you know how much. I mean, it varies, you know, probably about 8 ounces, sometimes more. I'm going to use 8 ounces of cooked macaroni, elbow. You could use any shape that you like, but elbow is the traditional. And then probably about 4 to 6 ounces of milk. It could be any milk you've got. It could be half and half. It could be heavy cream. And then I'm going to taste it. If you feel you need a little bit more salt to it, if you want to put some white pepper in it or some black pepper even, go ahead and do it. You guys know what I say. You know, the sky's the limit when you're cooking. Experiment with different flavors if you want. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of garlic powder in it. Let's see what it tastes like. I also have a half a stick of butter in my frying pan. I'm using a non-stick frying pan, and I'm going to start out by melting that. There you guys see I have my butter melted. I'm just going to add in my milk. Started with about half a cup. I'm using 1%. Like I said, you can use whatever you feel. And I'm just going to heat it up until it's boiling. And then I'm just going to chunk in my cheese and make it thin as possible. And then I'm going to add it in. This does not require a roux. This is very thick cheese once it melts. If your cheese mixture is too thick, you can always add a little bit more dairy. It's not going to be a problem at all. So here's what that government cheese looks like. Now it's pretty funny that they consider this government cheese because it says on the package it's premium cheese. So it is pasteurized processed cheese, but you know, it's probably on par with, you know, Kraft American cheese. It doesn't really look like it's got a lot of it doesn't really have food dye in it, so that's good. Enzymes, ingredients not in regular pasteurized American cheese. So, you know, I use it. It's 2 pounds worth. It's not like we eat it all the time. The food pantries don't have it all the time. It is RBST free. You know, it's all good, guys. You use what you got. Gotta fill your tummies. So I've added our cheese. Might need a little bit more. And I'm just gonna keep this moving until it starts to melt. As I have my non-stick whisk if I need to do that, because I'm sure I will. You know, this can take a little bit to melt. That's okay. It's got stabilizers in it, but it will melt, at least from my experience. So, I'm not going to bore you guys while that's doing its thing. I think I might need a little bit more cheese. Yeah, so I might cut off another hunk of cheese. I've got it started on like a medium-low because I don't want anything to scald. So, yeah, I'm going to add some more cheese. It looked like a lot when I started. Okay, so here is our cheese mixture. It's all nice and smooth. I tasted it. It tastes good. I am going to put just a tad of garlic powder in there. And then I'm going to throw in our macaroni and mix it all together. See how smooth it comes out? Like I said, this may take a little bit to melt. You want to do it over low heat and take your time with it. But it really does come out so nice and smooth. It makes a beautiful cheese sauce. And I used probably, I want to say about half the block. So I think I said 8 ounces to start, but it ended up being more like 16 ounces, and that's okay. I have another pound, and I don't want it to go bad now that it's opened in the fridge. So what I'm going to do is wrap it up nice and securely, mark it with a date, and put it in my freezer for the next time I want to make this. And like I said, you could also use it for other things. I have some sliced cheese in my refrigerator that I want to use up, so I'm going to utilize that for sandwiches and grilled cheese, and I'm going to save the government cheese. It sounds so funny to call it that, but I guess it's what it is since I got it at the food pantry. Oh, guys, it just doesn't matter, does it? It's feeding us. So I'm just going to utilize this wonderful government cheese for more macaroni and cheese at a later date. That's good, Mittens. That's really good. Okay, guys, I've taken the liberty of cleaning and steaming about 1.5 pounds of green beans. Snap the ends off them and snap them in between. I rinse them with cool water. And now, in my frying pan, I've got 1 stick of butter and 3 tablespoons of garlic. And I'm just going to brown the garlic for a few minutes, and then I'm going to toss my green beans in. And there's our green beans all put together with the garlic butter, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper, of course to your taste. Okay guys, so for my last recipe in my bulk cooking evening, I'm going to be making a zucchini beef casserole. So I have never made this before. It is low carb and it sounds delicious, so we're going to discover this together. So I've got a pound of lean ground beef. This is 85/15, 2 pounds of zucchini, which I'm going to cut into rounds. I'm going to put it in my colander, which is waiting in the sink, and I am going to salt it. The purpose of the salt is to remove a lot of the water, and I'm going to let it sit 15 minutes while I start doing the prep on the beef and chop the onion and get that all started. Also, garlic. What's a recipe without some garlic? So the garlic, well, you know me, I like to use my heart when it comes to the garlic, and I'll probably use about 3 tablespoons full. The recipe only called for a tablespoon, but really guys, that's not enough. So, and salt and pepper to taste. So I am gonna get started. I also forgot to mention with the zucchini beef casserole, we're gonna use 2 cups of part skim shredded mozzarella cheese. Okay guys, so I have my garlic and my onions sauteing in my frying pan with some olive oil, and I'm just gonna let them cook for a few more minutes so they get a little bit more aromatic, and then I'll add my ground beef. I've added my ground beef. I've crushed it up with my meat crusher. Well, I'm sure that's not the technical term, but I call it that. You guys know what I mean, right? Let me show it to you. This doohickey. I call it my meat crusher. So I've got it on like a medium heat so I can brown it. And it'll take on the flavor of the onions and the garlic. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I added my 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I drained them, and I'm just going to cook this probably for about 5-10 minutes until the juice that was left over from the tomatoes kind of reduces. I didn't want this to be bland, so I added about a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of dried basil. I think that's going to be delicious. Now I've taken the liberty of rinsing my zucchini slices and letting them drain. And I sprayed an 8x8 casserole, and now I am going to start layering our casserole. I'm going to put a layer of the beef tomato mixture and then some mozzarella, and I'm going to add some Parmesan to it, and so on and so forth. So I'm not sure why the recipe called for 2 pounds of thinly sliced zucchini, because after I have layered this 2 layers in my 8x8, which is what the recipe calls for, I have this many zucchini left. So I am going to wing it, and I am going to put the zucchini on the top with a layer of cheese over it, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so this is our finished casserole. Well, almost finished casserole. It's got to go in the oven, covered at 325 for 15 minutes. Then I want to take it out, uncover it, add a layer of the mozzarella cheese and a little bit of Parmesan, and put it back in for 15 minutes until it's bubbly. Hey guys, so here's the finished product. 2 chicken meatballs with about a cup of pasta. And there's Matt. Okay, Matt, go ahead and have a taste test.
A meatball first.
Yep. Let's see what it looks like when you cut into it.
No, not rubbery.
We've been watching a lot of Hell's Kitchen.
It's not rubbery.
Well, cut it in smaller pieces.
Idiot sandwich. Chicken? Turkey? Turkey.
Chicken.
Oh.
Chicken meatballs.
Tastes like turkey. Well, to me at least.
Good?
It's delightful. It's delightful.
The pasta's cooked al dente.
Who doesn't eat pasta al dente? Who eats raw?
Or mushy. He's a little hungry, guys. And how's the sauce?
Very saucy. Like an 8.
An 8? What would make it better?
Garlic.
There's a lot of garlic in
I
there.
don't care.
But overall, good meal?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. This is our lovely honey spiral sliced ham, our government cheese mac and cheese, and our garlic green beans. I don't have anybody to taste test it, but I can tell you from the plate that Matthew had last night, it is delicious. I like mine with a little bit of honey mustard. You guys do whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy my dinner. So this is our zucchini beef tomato casserole. It is so delicious, nice and cheesy, nice flavor balance to it. It's a keto recipe, which is perfect for me because I'm diabetic. It can be eaten any time of the day, really. I don't know for breakfast. I wouldn't, but I guess you could if you wanted to. If you look closely, it's got some basil on the top. I'm going to put a little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese on there just to kick it up a little bit. You could serve this with a light tossed salad. However, I'm just going to eat this as is because it fills me up. If you weren't trying to do keto, you could also do a roll or a slice of bread and butter. But it's really delicious. I rated it a 10 out of 10. So I hope that you guys will try this. Hey guys. So this is the end of the video. You have seen all 3 of the meals that I prepped for dinners last week. And it is, let's see, it is Saturday night, and I did all that cooking on Monday night. So unbelievably, all of that food got us all the way through the week. And what I'm going to do with the leftover ham is turn it into some other things so we can eat it this week coming up. So I'm probably going to do part of that tomorrow, part of it on Monday morning. I am going to be making some crustless quiches with the ham. I have a really nice crock pot meal with potatoes and cheese and cream of mushroom soup. It sounds gross, but I am sure it will be delicious. But I'm going to try it. I never made it before. I just looked up ways to use leftover ham. So sorry it's a little dark over here. I am ready for bed. It's been a busy day. I am starting my fall cleaning by steam cleaning the carpet in my bedroom. So I've got everything everywhere in my living room because I had to remove it from the one side of my bedroom. So having said that, I hope you like these recipes. I love to cook in bulk for the week, so then I just, spend a couple of hours doing it, and then I'm set for the whole week. I'm going to try to do that for this week too. Sometimes it doesn't always work out because I've got other things to do. I'm real busy. But I've done this pretty much all my adult life, and it's easy for the kids if they want to heat up something, and for my sister and for myself, of course. So I still have 1 serving of pasta and meatballs, and that's for my sister to eat tonight when she's up to it. And that's the nice thing too. Everybody can just go and eat when they want. We don't have to have a formal dinner hour if we're all kind of busy and coming and going. And what else do we have? I have 1 serving of the zucchini, beef, and tomato casserole, and that I'll probably have for lunch tomorrow. So, as always, guys, I am sending love from my home to yours from New Jersey. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would so appreciate it if you guys would share the channel, if you would subscribe if you're a first-time viewer. In case you're not aware, I do videos that revolve around frugal living, enjoying abundance and joy on a low income, mom life, midlife for us ladies. Just I'm an everyday kind of girl, and I just keep it real with you guys. So having said that, I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I look forward to chatting with you in the comments and to the next video. Have a great night, guys.